Good tidings, all you fine feathered individuals. League Unlock starts right now. Eric, Mark here with you guys. It is time for some more power rankings. The second global power rankings of the spring split. They're still impossible to do accurately. We included NA and EU this time, but they've played so few games that it makes the list even more impossible than usual to do, but just love power rankings. So here we are.
You're talking about a maximum of 2 weeks of gameplay in NA and one from the LEC.
1 weekend.
We had this when we did the two early power rankings last time for the LCK and LPL only. Already telling you guys, look, you're going to change a lot. This is not only the beginning of the year, but this is just way, way too early to be making these type of jumps. But that's where the fun begins, boys. We're here to break down the top 20 in the world.
Yeah, we're expanding it to that top 20, not just the top 10, because we are, like I said, including NA and EU. And let's just dive into it, because right away, we're talking North America, and we're talking 20 to 17, basically, the top 4 that all made it to the semifinals. So few games, I feel like they're all very close. We've talked about before, Team Liquid and 100 Thieves, to me, across the 5 or 6 games that they played, looked like the strongest teams. Cloud9 starting to come on, but honestly, they're so close, all 4 of them, from what we've seen in the lock-in tournament.
They're clearly the front runners, the top of the table from North America, and what you can expect from the very best teams is what you have from 17 to 20. But really, if you're really asking about this feels like, if you got a smudge on your glasses, or, the 3D glasses at the movie theater, and you're kind of seeing something blurred all together. That's 17 to 20, because it's just NA. You can put NA there if you're really a stickler and you're a big time Team Liquid fan or big time 100 Thieves fan. Sure, I'll let you argue and let you put a little bit of extra credit on your squad ahead of the rest of the NA teams. Still, that's just NA at the very bottom there, but deservedly so at our top 20 list.
And however the semifinals and finals play out, by the time we're talking next week, just more games under the belt, we can talk about somebody climbing higher when they are getting these best of series. And that's the best part, I think, of this tournament, is a lot of teams that usually wouldn't even play a best of 3 because they're not making playoffs, gets that opportunity early on in the split. So, hey, thumbs up for them.
And you're looking at these squads, you're talking about Team Liquid, talking about 100 Thieves. The most carryover, really, you're looking at from last year as far as the synergy that should be there, how well they should be out of the gates, ready to rip and roar. In a best of tournament like this, that's where you're seeing them at the top of our, NA little bubble at the bottom. And then still, squad like EG, what we've seen from them, would be amiss to have them outside of this list.
So moving past the wall that is North America, we get to a surprise, almost full rookie squad in DRX, who's 3-1. They haven't necessarily beaten any of the top playoff teams in the LCK, but even I thought it would be taking a lot more weeks than we're at now for them to pick up 3 wins.
Absolutely. And where they stand and where they are in our power rankings and how they have this spot, they've taken care of business. That's all you could have asked for. You said it, not really the strength of schedule. That would be why they're finding themselves in this power rankings, but it's really the clean look of play and beating the expectations that a lot of people would have had for this group. What they've done as again, set them right up in a position where, hey, you play off against one of these top level teams, against a Gen G, against a Damwon, you take them down. You're going to leapfrog big time in the power rankings. But right now, they're just set up for that little go.
Didn't think we'd be talking about them in the top 20 at any point in the year. So already exceeding those expectations. Then we get a whole heap of LPL squads to talk about. Had to wait all the way to 15 to get some of them. But you got a BLG, V5, and LNG, the trio to talk about first. And LNG are 3-1. Again, haven't beaten the big name squads. A lot of these early on power rankings, the records are almost misleading because it's more important about who you've actually matched up against.
Right. You can talk about a team like we just did with DRX, with taking care of your business, setting yourself up for one of these matches where you're hanging out. This is the same situation. You're talking a lot about these LPL squads. A team like Victory 5 that just recently lost against an RNG squad that is at the very top, that is pushing towards the top of the LPL, not really going to knock you down, even if it does affect, obviously, the very few games record that you have right now. Still have some faith in PP God and the rest of the Victory 5 squad to find even better form than they're in right now.
Yeah, their 2 losses are to World Elite and RNG, who are 2 of those 3 undefeated teams in the LPL, but that's why you're not in the top 10 if you can't get it done against some of these top squads. So V5 sitting there. BLG's the squad that, even though they're under 500, they've played some competitive matches against some of these better playoff teams, so also deserving to be on this list. And then you get to JDG and Top Esports, which seeing them outside of the top 10 usually is a little weird. We're still waiting for more games out of them, but definitely slower starts than we were anticipating for both of these squads.
Starts than you would anticipate and slower starts than you can, accept really from a squad like JDG and what you have in Top Esports. That being said, the most recent indications from these teams is that it is turning around. The ship is righting itself, but not in time for these power rankings, my man. And you're going to find yourself falling outside of that usual top territory that these elite level squads and these elite rosters are able to play up to.
Yeah, and I mean, there's just, from the last week, there's just not much to go on to really climb these guys. I mean, top 2-0 LGD. Okay, it was dominant, the exact fashion you would think TES should do. Great, got the job done. For JDG, an 0-2 to EDG, counteracted by a 2-0 versus Rare Atom. These aren't the recipes to be climbing up power rankings.
No, they're just treading water right now from what we've seen. And again, this is, a lot of it is based on the power of their lineup, of the roster, what it should be able to do, the expectation. But still, when you talk about these two teams and why they find themselves not, in that normal territory, is having to fix some results that they had early in the year that were very poor. And especially with a team like Top Esports specifically, it's going to take at least another week or two for me to see some top level, elite level play from them to push them back in towards that territory.
And hey guys, it can be worse for Worlds contenders from the LPL. Suning, not on the list at 1-3. Oof. They have had a much rougher start after things started so well against Top Esports in their first week. Suning not making the top 20. Another squad we expect to eventually climb their way back up, but for now, they are sitting outside of the 20 best teams in the world. We roll on now to the top 10, where we started last week. This is where we initially didn't do the top 20, but now this is where EU comes in, even harder to rank than North America. There's only 2 EU teams because there's just not enough to go on after the first week. We talked about it before. G2 and Rogue both look really good, and that's why they're both on this list. And you immediately put them into the top 10, a lot of it based on how good they were last year.
Yeah. And a lot of it still, though, for a squad like G2, sure, is built on the previous years, the previous success that these players have had, the organization has had. You look at the change that would happen, a significant change in having Reckless to the squad and how they performed this week and how they look with him in the lineup as a weapon for them to not only draft around, but play around. It is, it's a good year for G2, my boys.
Yeah.
You're going to see
Get used to seeing them here.
Yeah, get used to seeing them in the top 10 and get used to seeing them even higher in the power rankings is the warning I'm going to give you right now with what we saw from them in only 1 week of LEC action. Rogue as well has delivered on what we wanted to be seeing from them. And even then, a little bit of that growth that we've been asking for, right? What we talked about with this squad, where they can go take that next step level to be an elite team, to be in that territory, that expectations that people have for a G2. What used to be the expectation, which doesn't seem to be it probably this year for Fnatic early on, that is going to be the replacement for me right now when you're talking about the pillars in Europe. G2 continues their reign and Rogue really pushing up against them.
Yeah, and both of them I fully expect or wouldn't be surprised to see them climbing a lot higher in these rankings ahead of some LCK and LPL squads. But again, one weekend, even though they both looked really good, had really good 2020s, only seemingly upgraded their rosters heading into this year. We need more weeks under their belt before they climb up. Sandwiched in between them is Invictus Gaming, IG, at number 9, who are looking better. There's still the inconsistencies, but we finally had the shy carry performance, Mark. We've been waiting all year.
Hey, that alert is sounding pretty hard, my man. He is there and he is back for now.
It seems to be whenever Rookie has a bad game, the shy steps up. The problem is Rookie never has bad games.
I was gonna say that's a dangerous game to be playing because my man Rookie is not someone to slack off and let a bad game happen. But that's what we had this past week. He wasn't really performing, but the shot, the Quinn, the big quadra kills, my man absolutely making sure that the damage was there for IG, even with Rookie not playing to his best. This is the hard part with IG, right? Because you can fall in love with what Rookie is able to do and how professional he can play. But then you get the Shy, and his level of excitement is very different. But right now, we're still a bit on this reclamation path for the Shy, this rebuilding path towards that stability, that level of expectation that you can have from his play. Still going to need to see some more of these top level performances.
Yeah, but back-to-back 2-0s now for IG. The Shy is dying less, still has one of the worst KDAs among all top laners, but it's the same story every year, it feels like, with IG. We know the ceiling is there. We know they could not only, make a deep playoff run, but win the entire split if they play at their best. It's just, we're a few years removed from that now.
Hey, if they're playing at their very best, they're competing with the top of the table. They're competing with the unbeaten world elites, the RNGs, FPX. That's exactly the EDGs. That's where they're at. If we're getting some variance in play from someone like the Shy, different story.
Yeah, and we've gotten quite a bit of variance. Not even variance. This is the first variance we've had because he actually had a good game. It's only been bad games, really, up till this point. He has played some decent NAR ones. But 3-2 now, IG are sitting at. Then we get to 6-7, which is a couple of LCK boys, Hanwha Life and Gen G. Gen G, obviously, fresh off the loss to Damwon. We'll dive deeper into that matchup when we talk about Damwon later. But the Hanwha versus Gen G, I mean, the reason Hanwha's ahead is pretty easy. They had to head-to-head. And honestly, even after that series, I probably might have still put Gen G ahead because Gen G's a better team still, but Hanwha has Chovy. So...
Yeah, you better believe that Hanwha Life is getting full maximum value on that Chovy contract because look, we're saying Hanwha Life when it really should just be Team Chovy. It should just be whoever Chovy's got should be the rank 7 team in our power rankings is how it is. What he was able to do, especially this past week, you're talking solo carry. My man was an absolute man on a mission, monster, demolishing anything in his path. And what was in his path? Well, it was Gen G, buddy. And he demolished them and demolished BDD at the same time.
Yeah, and he followed that up with taking down Freddy Brion. And we know the only team to beat Damwon so far this split. I mean, just saying. We also got to see Def's Senna, which, doesn't sound like a ridiculous thing to say. But then in 2021, kind of is crazy to see Senna back on the Rift.
Yeah, when we are talking about this Hanwha Life roster, yes, of course, made the big point about Chovy and how it is Team Chovy. Do want to give some credit this week. We have been, asking for these increased in performance, looking more like the legend himself, Def. Better week from him. Definitely a better step in the right direction from the bot lane for Hanwha Life.
Confidence to go off meta with Senna and confidence to pick a champion like Vayne and look great on both of those different picks. So positive signs for Hanwha Life, and now they're sitting pretty at 4-1, tied for first in the LCK. Gen G, the really only bigger surprise from Damwon series today is that Flawless started all of the games over Clid, which I was a little surprised to see.
Yeah, that one certainly caught me by surprise, given what we think of Clid and what he brings to the table for a squad like Gen G. So certainly going to have to wait and see a little bit more and learn more from that situation. But still, this is a squad when you look at how Gen G plays and what they're able to do, and even examining that series loss to Hanwha Life. That's a Chovy difference. That's a Chovy difference, and there's no way to chop it up any different. And I know that can sound ridiculous for a squad that we hype up and talk about as highly as Gen G to lose to a team just on a Chovy difference. But guys, we've been trying to tell you that's Chovy.
Yeah, and like I said, if they didn't have the combination of this loss to Damwon, I might have still been arguing Gen G ahead of Hanwha Life in terms of team power rankings, because I still feel like at the end of the year, they're going to be going further when the playoffs do roll around. Still too many question marks around the rest of that Hanwha roster, but for now, they're sitting there at number 6, just outside of the top 5, which is probably a lot higher than people were expecting Hanwha to be this early.
Absolutely a lot higher than you're expecting, but this is the path. This is the way that they were planning for, and this is what you dream when you make an acquisition. You make a splash like this in free agency, absolutely getting return on investment.
Right away, instantly. They're not going to be gatekeepers for playoffs anymore, as we thought would be the case when Chovy rolled up onto this roster. Now we're hitting the top 5. It's the fun time, and I hope you guys are familiar and fans of LPL teams, because yes, there's quite a few again in the top 5, and it's familiar from the top 10 that we did earlier, because, well, none of these teams really fell off very much. We're talking RNG climbed back into the top, or not back into the top 5, staying perfect at 4-0. The Xiaohu experiment continues to work. We're seeing him play Lucian. Now he's just playing mid laners, and you're like, well, he just looks even better at playing mids as well.
He's taking those mid laners right to the top lane, no problem. He's looked actually pretty darn comfortable on the few top lane champions that he has played up there. But of course, we're talking about the mid laners. That's what's been special. Seeing the Orianna, seeing the Lucian, the way he's been able to play them there has been an added benefit for this RNG squad. And then even the other players here for RNG, someone like Cryan has been playing well. That's what we've been looking for, as obviously those two solo laners, that, duo prong attack that they can bring. Think that was a strength for RNG. Like to see them back in our top 5. Feels good for the LPL scene.
Yeah, and the E-Star duo that you're talking, Wei and Cryan, absolutely been one of the focal points, as it should be. Gala has been incredibly consistent, and Ming, I mean, what can we say? The guy's been a top tier support in the world, not just the LPL, for like 4 years now.
And we full on found out, my man. It's the power of Wei versus Wei this past week we had, and it's Wei. Wei is the way.
The bigger number isn't always the win. It's not. This is the Wei. This is the way.
It's the way. There we go.
And even though they're undefeated, we still have FPX ahead of them at 4-1. And FPX, since they lost to EDG, they've won 3 series in a row. All of them were in 2-0 fashion. Yes, they're against weaker teams, except for Suning, who we expected to be, a little bit more in that series. But FPX, they look really good. Doinb's playing Kled again. Nuggery is finding his footing within the LPL, and LWX and Crisp look like one of the best bot lanes in the league.
It is so lethal, that bot lane. That is what it's all about. Yes, FPX holds on to their spot in the power rankings. Nuggery is looking more comfortable in the LPL. Doinb, as you said, finally, we're getting to see a little bit more excitement in the picks that he's making. Is always something that you love to see as a fan of Doinb. But really, the story is that bottom lane, is LWX and Crisp. How dangerous, how lethal they've been. We said it. We've talked about it, man. When FPX is at their very best, when they were world champions, LWX was a massive threat and a massive damage dealer. He's showing off that form this year. FPX, a team to watch out for.
LWX and Viper for EDG both leading the way with 6 Man of the Match awards so far this split. And talking about those EDG and World Elite boys, they come in 2-3, both still undefeated, both 5-0. We've highlighted how fun it's been watching these older generation or organizations that we saw in 2017 dominating, seeing them back at the top, and it has been smooth sailing so far for them. On top of those 6 Man of the Matches, my favorite is Viper is the front runner for Rookie of the Split in the LPL. Rookie of the Split, guys.
I normally, even on something like this, I can get behind it and be like, you know what? Sure, it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be fun. This feels unfair to the rest of the rookies in the LPL, my man. To go stack up.
Been to Worlds, been to multiple LCK finals.
Yeah, not exactly what I would consider a rookie, but he is definitely not performing like a rookie in the LPL, and how he's been able to pump out the damage. EDG, loving the acquisition of Viper, loving the acquisition of Flandre as well. Really, really making a difference in that top side. Love what EDG has brought back to the LPL. And WE, I can't talk enough, my man, about seeing WE back in action, World Elite. They are one of the best that we have in the LPL, and it is so exciting to see them back at the top.
Big matchups on the Friday, Saturday in the LPL. You've got World Elite RNG, 5-0 versus 4-0 on the Friday, and then Saturday, the classic banger IG versus FPX. So going to be some fun LPL matches with huge implications on these power rankings, no doubt, will those guys have. But even though you're 5-0, 4-0, another 5-0, you can't come in number one again because you know what? I said it would never happen. The Freddie Brion loss is not enough to take Damwon out. Maybe if they had lost to Gen G, then you're probably talking about sliding them out of here. And after game one, it's like, oh dear, Damwon, are they a little too overhyped in spring? And then games 2 and 3, 27 kills to 4 in their favor over Gen G. Absolute demolition.
Khan heard us. He heard that thought. He said, "Wait, you're gonna drop us if we lose?" I'm not.
Give me the nard. Let me
G.
ult the entire team. But hold up.
Oh man, he was motivated in those next games. Yeah, there's no other way to say it. Yeah, I think you're right with saying that. Obviously, if you look at the Gen G series, even considering the strength of Gen G, if they drop that one, you can have the conversation. You can look at WE. You can look at EDG, as we just talked about. Even FPX, you can start to make these conversations for them at the top. Still not enough, even with the loss to the bros. DK, Damwon Gaming at the very top.
And it wasn't even, today the games 2 and 3 against Gen G, that looked like peak Damwon from 2020 summer. And Showmaker... Chovy's the best performing mid laner in the LCK right now, of course. You can't really argue that. But Showmaker, I feel like with Khan and not Nuggery, has almost been playing... feel like he needs to step up more, but he really doesn't. Because Nuggery's taken some time to get his footing with FPX. Khan got dropped in and immediately was like, let's go. I'm the best top laner in the LCK.
Yeah, he has started running, my man, back into his return for the LCK. Back with Coma, back feeling good for the LCK with someone like Khan dominating in that top side, delivering those performances. You're right. The pressure is not on for someone like Showmaker to be that superstar that we had last year, really being that major difference maker in the mid lane. I think obviously if you're looking this year, as we just talked, Chovy has to be the guy really, really proving his value, his difference in skill in the mid lane. That doesn't mean that someone like Showmaker is not going to show up, is not going to be able to deliver those type of star level performances. Just right now for Damwon, it's not been necessary.
And you look at now the series here against Gen G, how they bounced back after game one, compare it to T1, which was a struggle, a slog to get through, and T1 had a hand in them winning that by them kind of potentially throwing some of those games. But now Damwon, they've played their two biggest competitors, and now they're sitting pretty at 4-1. It just feels like they're going through the motions almost, but their motions are pretty clean.
Yeah, the problem I think for a lot of people is you're going to end up with the way the scheduling works out for Damwon is we're going to have this period now for the next couple of weeks where it's a very, middling kind of tier of the LCK that they're going up against.
After Hanwha. They play Hanwha on Friday. Then it's
of
full
course we got to watch out for, we got to be on Chovy watch.
Of course.
But then it seems to be quote unquote easy street for Damwon. That's the worry is that they might, drop your focus, drop a game there, because look, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt when we got other squads taking care of business the way they do. Damwon, this ain't summer last year. You got to take care of what you got.
For now, they're still sitting pretty number one on the power rankings. That's it today for League Unlock. Eric and Mark, thanks for hanging out, guys. We'll catch you guys on the flippity flip.